This is A Line Around Your Thoughts, a podcast that centers on conversations with artists, writers, musicians, and creatives from around the Inland Northwest. I'm your host, E.J. Iannelli, wishing you a Merry Christmas. And because of the holidays, we have special episodes for the next 2 weeks. As regular listeners know, and as our guests are sometimes surprised to discover, every interview on A Line Around Your Thoughts ends with a lightning round. The lightning round consists of 4 questions on random topics, and they always begin with an either-or that presents our guests with a tough choice. The lightning round's questions and answers are sometimes absurd, sometimes poignant, sometimes informative, but always, in their own way, revealing. And that's kind of the point. So I'm billing these 2 end-of-year episodes as a 2-part lightning round best of, but it's more of a semi-curated sampling because every lightning round has yielded some laughs and some insights. Another thing that's nice about these lightning round snippets is that you can hear how A Line Around Your Thoughts has morphed, and I hope improved, since we launched in May, especially when it comes to audio quality. So let's start at the very beginning with the very first episode, which featured Troy Nickerson and Chris Jensen of Theater on the Verge. Is there a musical or a play that you can think of that you just don't understand what all the fuss is about?
Ooh, Cats.
Oh. I'm not Cats. I mean, I know they did a beautiful job of it at Civic. It's not a musical thing to do, but it's just never been one that connected with me.
Yeah. Wow, that would be the first one that comes to mind as well. So I'm glad we're all in agreement. So favorite piece of entertainment that's not your own that you've experienced in the past couple of months? So that can be a live musical performance, that can be a television show.
There's been a couple things. I really enjoyed Cyclone that I saw the other day. It was lovely, and my friend Heather directed Lend Me Soprano. That was very nice, and yeah, but Cyclone was crazy, and I love going to a musical, especially that I didn't know anything about it. It was great.
It's nice to be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. I love that.
This movie came out, I think, 2 years ago. I just rewatched it, though. Past Lives. It's a Celine song. She wrote and directed it. It was nominated for Best Picture, I think, a year or 2 ago. Absolutely phenomenal film. I think I've watched it 3 times now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's so simple. It's about a phenomenal movie.
Right after Troy and Chris, the Spokane Symphony's music director James Lowe came in to talk about the orchestra's upcoming season and the stuff of his nightmares. Your most embarrassing moment as a conductor?
Oh, dear God. I have had so many. I couldn't even begin to say. Wow, this is getting into trauma zone. I can tell you my favorite nightmare.
So
this is a really genuine nightmare I had. So I was conducting some big orchestra. I hadn't prepared. I was doing a contemporary piece. Half the orchestra was in an L-shaped room on the other side of the wall and couldn't see me. The podium was a balance board, and I hadn't prepared. I didn't even have the score. And I go up to the composer and I say, "Could I just borrow your score, please? Because I've been working off the copy and I'd like to use the original." And he hands me a Tupperware box, and I open the Tupperware box, and it's full of lettuce leaves covered in mayonnaise. And I'm leafing through these, covered in mayonnaise, and the guy looks at me and says, "You do read this kind of notation, don't you?" And then I wake up in a cold sweat. So that's very Freudian. Take from that what you will.
Wow. And has this been a recurring nightmare, or did this happen once, but it was so memorable?
This happened once, but it was so memorable. It's kind of just so funny, this idea of because sometimes as a conductor, composers do give you scores where there's a totally different form of notation, and at the front there's a long list of this symbol means this, and you think, oh Lord, and you have to learn an entirely different way, this non-traditional way that they've written it down, and that does sometimes happen. That's always a bit of a nightmare for the musicians because we know how to read music the way it's been written for the last 250 years. So to come and suddenly say, well, actually, no, this symbol means this, and then you have to do that, and yeah, that's always a bit of a kind of real life nightmare.
I would say that I hope that never happens to you, but I kind of wish it would, just because you would have one of the most amazing anecdotes in all of classical music history.
Well, you never know. It may have just been a kind of premonition dream. And at some point, maybe Sidney Guillaume is going to hand me a Tupperware box full of lettuce.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Yeah. This will go out. The symphony, the orchestra will hear that. Sidney Guillaume will hear that and say, oh, we've got something fantastic lined up.
Another one of my early guests was Shelly Wynecoop of Spokane Arts. Shelly shed some light on the Spokane Arts Grant Awards program, or SAGA, including what was then the most recent round of funding recipients. During the lightning round, she weighed in with some personal preferences, as well as some thoughts on astrology.
Something that you would like to see more of in the local art scene?
Performance art, for sure.
And can you define that?
Interacting with the public in interesting ways. Passers-by finding themselves in interactions that they didn't expect. Inculcating in the general public a broader idea of what the arts can be.
Right.
That's something that that I think is missing as an ecosystem here. I don't see enough of it. I want more of that.
So more performance art, and not necessarily interactive art, but performance art.
Well, just like, sitting in a cage with the coyote kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Let's really bring out the weird. Let's start, spreading our wings a little bit.
So speaking of getting weird, let's get astrological. What is your star sign?
I'm a Taurus.
Are you?
I am.
Do you put any stock in astrology?
I'll tell you a story. I'm kind of wonky. I do a lot of figure number crunching kinds of things, and I come from a pretty heavy statistical background in grad school and these kinds of things. And I was living in New York and went to one of my favorite bars once, and it happened to be a big group of people there, and a friend of a friend came up and made some comment about astrological signs, and I snort laughed. And just when she heard me, and she's like, I don't know any of you around this table. There were 13 of us. And she said, I can tell every one of you, having stood here for 1 minute, what your signs are. And I'm like, I want to see this.
What an interesting party trick, huh?
Like, I want to see this. This is actually interesting. And so she did, and she got every one of us right.
And she ID'd you, huh?
So I changed my mind that day. There's something to it.
About a month after Shelly's episode, the Spokane Civic Theater's longtime playwright-in-residence, Bryan Harnetiaux, sat down with me to look at his more than 4-decade career. At the very end of the lightning round, I offered him a hypothetical chance to alter history.
And then finally, a thing that you would like to change about one of your plays. Is there one of your plays you wish you could revisit and do a little bit differently? Or even a line that you think, I would love to change that?
Nothing comes to mind. I'm kind of known for beating my plays to death and then stepping back and moving on. So there's nothing that wakes me up. I mean, it's probably a play that was just poorly written that I'd like to change. Some of my early stuff, where it seems trite now. So I'd like to change the name on the title to somebody else. Somebody's going to dig. I mean, if they're really hard up for things to do, they're going to dig up some of my early stuff and say, boy, is this a piece of...
Well, that's where you cut your teeth and, lesson to all aspiring playwrights, write under a nom de plume until you hit it big.
Or just don't look back. I mean, I think you borrow from what you've written before, but if you're growing at all, you're doing better. When I see a play of mine that's got a few years, I don't enjoy it as much. But I love the process of writing a play and developing the play and rehearsing the play. When it's finally on stage, that's when I can just kind of say, okay, now I still send it out, wanting, if I'm proud enough of it, wanting other productions of it or to get it published. But I'm done with it.
Yeah, and you abandoning it, but in a healthy way.
I think it's healthy. I mean, if I obsessed on it, that's the hardest thing about writing. I think you have to just do it. and then do it as best you can and then move on.
And there we get to letting go.
Yeah, it is letting go.
Soon after, Jess Walter came in to talk about his new book, So Far Gone, which, since then, has been greenlit for a Netflix series. During the lightning round, we both struggled to remember the name of Helge Estby, so Jess, thinking on his feet, came up with a suitably modern substitute. Who, in your opinion, is on Spokane's Mount Rushmore?
Spokane's Mount Rushmore. Well, Bing would be up there, I suppose. Spokane's, I think you'd have to put Chief Gary up there. I mean, I think, the place if the place is named for the tribe that was driven from it, I think you would need to start there. So we've got two. John Stockton, a lot of people would put up there. Let me think, though. Who else would go on Spokane's Mount Rushmore? I'm going to go with the sports writer John Blanchett, who I think is one of the greatest writers Spokane has ever had, so I'm going to put John up there. Blanchett, let's see. I've got one more person to put on there. I think it should probably be a woman. That would probably make the most sense. Who's the woman who walked from Spokane to in the 1800s?
It's on the tip of my tongue, and it's just not coming.
Oh, boy. All right, then I'll have to go somewhere else. I'm going to go Sydney Sweeney.
Okay.
We need someone
a contemporary.
We need a contemporary person. Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice mix.
Yeah, it's a good mix. Yeah, and I think it would be a challenge for a sculptor to get those four people up there.
And I wish I had that name at the ready.
I know. I can see it. The book is called. I can't even think of the book now. That's what happens in the lightning round. Is you're trusting a faulty memory.
Exactly, and no time to consult Wikipedia.
Right. Exactly.
Just ahead of their production of Carrie, the musical, Bright Comet Theater's Dominique Betts and Celeste Bidwell Williams faced the difficult choice of dealing with prehistoric reptiles or modern man-made machines. But after they'd answered that question, the star of Carrie reminded us why it's called acting. This one is maybe straightforward, maybe complex. I'll put this one to you to start, Dominique. Okay. Robots or dinosaurs?
What a great question. And that's what I came to talk about today. We're already living with the robots, but I think, I don't know, there's something so classic with dinosaurs, but I have to say I'm scared. So I'm not as scared of the robots because if I throw water at that, it's going to be fine. If the question is that I have to vanquish one in a fight, I'm going with the robots because the dinosaur is going to eat me.
Yeah, you're already thinking from a very survivalist standpoint.
Yeah, I think, nowadays especially.
It's our apocalyptic times.
Exactly that.
Celeste, robots or dinosaurs?
Dinosaurs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any special reason why?
I just vibe with them more. Just joking.
Excellent. And this is apropos of the production that you've got going. Mm-hmm. Celeste, I'll put this to you. Your favorite horror movie?
Okay, I'm going to level with you. I don't like horror movies. I can be in a horror production. I don't like horror movies. So, The Shining.
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, was that one you watched through splayed fingers?
No, it's one I haven't watched, but I don't like any horror movies, so I thought of one and I said it.
That's fantastic. Yeah, my favorite horror movie is the one I haven't seen.
Yep.
Truly, I love that.
With Gwyn Pevonka, the visual artist and founder of 33 Artists Market, we ended up taking a trip down her own memory lane. We talked about some distinctly happy moments, and then some slightly more ominous ones.
Those were the good days. Riding bikes and drinking PBRs. And
drinking dollar PBRs.
Now I'm lactose intolerant, so what is that? Hello, mid-30s, so.
I can see the nostalgic appeal. Okay, so now that we've indulged in nostalgia, I want to know the most dangerous thing you've ever done. And for some people, that's going to be I went bungee jumping, and for some people, that's going to be I went to the supermarket.
Ooh, the most dangerous thing I've ever done. Probably rushing a sorority.
Really? Okay. Was there, some of the more
or whatever? Yeah, rushing a sorority. I think that's what you call it. Yeah, there was just lots of things that you had to do to I don't know, earn your worth to be a part of this elite society.
And where was this?
This is in Boone, North Carolina.
Okay.
I essentially, the most dangerous thing I ever did was, it was more done to me. I was pushed off a bridge, blindfolded.
Okay, I'm assuming this
part of rushing for a sorority.
I'm assuming this was into water.
Oh, into water,
okay,
yes.
Okay.
But like, you know.
I didn't know if they were just trying to psych you out, so they
knows?
perched you on a bridge, and then the fall wasn't that great.
Oh, could have been bad. Didn't know I was going to go into water or where I was standing, but I would say that was probably the most dangerous thing that has happened to me. Yeah. Every dangerous thing I've ever done.
And that was before your early 20s. So
that was like 19 when I was my mom was like, join a sorority, make friends. And I just got a drinking problem.
And little did you know they would be pushing you off bridges.
Right. Oh, what friendship.
Yeah, probably not the friendship.
Philanthropy. It's okay. It's fine. Hazing is cool. I mean, whatever.
Let's not take that quote out of context. But
friendship
I'm sure
is real in sororities now.
We're so much more enlightened.
Yes.
Quick side note to that interview is that in early December, Gwyn passed the torch to Scott and Irene Kelly. They'll be heading 33 Artists Market from this point on, and they will likely be guests on a future episode, probably sometime in February or March. At any rate, whereas Gwyn and I dipped into her actual past, I had the cellist Zuill Bailey of Northwest Bachfest, now called Classics Northwest, imagine a completely different timeline for himself. Okay, so this is, if we imagine another path for Zuill Bailey. So if you weren't a cellist, what do you see yourself doing? Did you have another passion that you might have pursued if you hadn't gone to Juilliard and, gone down this path?
Okay, I'll tell you something that no one knows. I loved monsters as a kid. I loved Rick Baker, the makeup artist who did American Werewolf in London and all those movies. I loved building things and creating new faces and masks and all of those things. And I thought, but I want to help people. So I'm going to be a plastic surgeon. And so in fifth grade, I was playing cello and everything was going fine. But I really thought I wanted to go into kind of a morph of special effects.
Right.
But in medicine to help recreate people who have problems. And I was in. I would even go into detail all the things that I was like trying to like be specific and learn certain things. And then I had a bike injury, and I was in 7th grade, 8th grade, and they had to sew up something on my arm, and I can't see blood. Can't do it. I can't do it. I fainted on the spot, and I don't remember fainting. And then I thought maybe it was a fluke. And then I tried to watch myself get a shot about 2 years later. Can't do it.
Well, I mean, that's a good, if you needed a definitive sign you were on the right path.
It was no, I know. I'm saying it was a 100% absolute. I don't have that. They're performers.
Yeah.
They can't perform. Meaning you go to school. People ask me all the time, should I be a performer? Should I want to be a soloist or this or that? I'm like, you should try. Because you might find out that you're actually not built for it. Going back to fatigue or warming up or getting on stage and playing whenever they want you to, not when you're ready, which is,
Yeah.
And so I'm always like, I tell people this all, just, you have to try to know, but when you know, and then you don't have any regrets.
Hypotheticals are always a fun line of questioning. Maybe that's why a few weeks after Zuill and I chatted, I asked the jazz musician Rachel Bade-McMurphy to do some fictional time traveling of her own. Now, we'll touch on jazz a little bit. I'd like to know a historic concert that you would have loved to have attended. Maybe that's Rollins at the Village Vanguard, maybe that's Brubeck at Oberlin, or if you're like, nah, I can't really think of a concert offhand, a recording session that you would have loved to have been a part of, like Mingus Aum,
So that's where I need a TARDIS and to be able to travel from thing to thing, because to choose one.
Do you have a dream concert or a dream session that you just think, I would have loved to have been in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey at this point in time?
I would have loved to have been in Englewood Cliffs at all for always, that whole, there's just magic. There's so much.
And I should note that we're referring to the Rudy Van Gelder studios in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey.
Yeah, to have been, a light switch in that studio and to have been able to watch that. I don't know. I think, anything from Coltrane would have been amazing. Anything from Jackie McLean, Bobby Hutcherson. That's a really, really big one for me. So right away, the first thing I actually thought of is that Hollywood Bowl concert from Bobby Hutcherson's Now. That's the last half of that Pink album. Half of that was recorded live at the Hollywood Bowl, and when you listen to, I don't know how long the applause is, but it's really substantial. So that's one that comes to mind that would be really, really special. But something where, to have heard Bird, to have heard Charlie Parker with, one of those live sessions with Dizzy, or...
and preferably, one of the sessions where he was a little more with it.
Right.
Although he managed to turn out some phenomenal work, even when he was a little under the weather.
Although, one of my favorite Charlie Parker recordings is that Lover Man, where he was so excruciatingly, down that that comes through in the music. From the first time I heard that when I was in 7th grade, I was like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. But Mingus, that would have been a big one too. Something with Dolphy, with Eric Dolphy.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of things I wish I could have seen.
Well, maybe you'll come across the TARDIS and then you can just flip from recording session to recording session.
Yeah. Oh, and then Attica Blues, the Archie Shepp. Yeah, that would have been, with the big band, that would have been a good one too.
When Jim Mohr of the Blue Door Theater was my guest, it seemed like an ideal opportunity to address the two sides of his personality. On the one hand, he's the executive director of an improv theater. On the other, he's a community college administrator. Okay. Spontaneous road trip or a vacation that you have planned months in advance?
I do both.
I have to make you choose a side.
I know. I'm going to say spontaneous vacation. You know why? When I was younger, in my car, I used to keep a cooler, paper plates, cutlery, anything I might need for a picnic.
A picnic on the spot.
And
you were picnic ready.
I'd be with friends, and we'd be like, hey, why don't we go over here and just have a picnic? We'd stop, get ice, put food and drinks into the cooler, and then go. Maybe that's like planning because I had it ready in the car, but it would just happen naturally. But I also do love to schedule.
You were prepared for spontaneity.
Yes.
Okay, that works. But are you a meticulous planner as well?
Oh, I can be, yes.
Yeah.
I will have a schedule for a vacation. My partner will tell you everything is scheduled. However, to my benefit, I guess, I'm flexible with the schedule. Because one thing I have learned is that sometimes I think, oh, this will take 3 hours, and it takes 45 minutes. Or I think this is like a 1 hour thing, I just want to see it, and we're there for 3 or 4 hours. So I can be flexible in terms of what happens, but I like to have a general idea of, I want to have a really good idea of what we're going to see.
So you're prepared for spontaneity, but you're a flexible planner. So kind of these dual paradoxes.
Yes, exactly.
You contain multitudes. It's great.
I do. Until this conversation, I never really thought about that. Yeah, that was planned spontaneity.
That's the whole point of the lightning round. You can maybe even see yourself in a different light. And then, finally, when Joe and Sienna Henson of Hitchhikers Theater came in to talk about how their pop-up theater group got its start, I wasn't expecting the question I asked to lead where it did. do you or have you ever had a nickname?
Sometimes Jobo. Sometimes people have called me Jobo.
Okay. At what point in your life did that evolve?
I didn't, but I tried to apply for clown college when I was a senior in high school. And it's actually, there's a fee for the application, and I didn't want to pay the fee, but I filled out the application.
Wait.
And this will circle back, I promise.
Clown college is a thing.
Yes.
I thought it was only something in Simpsons episodes.
No, it's real. There is a pretty heavy fee to even apply, I think, to rule out the jokers, which is those are the people that you want. The application is in Comic Sans, by the way, which is really funny. But yeah, when you fill out the application, they ask, what kind of clown are you? And there's different genres of clowns, and they say, what's your clown name? And I came up with Jobo. And then I had a buddy email them under the guise of being my school principal, asking them permission to waive the application fee for me. And they didn't do it. They didn't get back to us. So I never actually applied myself to clown college, but that's how Jobo started. Jobo the clown.
No kidding. I mean, and that's kind of an alternate path for you. I mean, when we imagine the Joe that could have been,
sure,
there's a Hitchhiker's Theater Joe in this universe, and in some parallel universe,
that's right,
that Joe did get into clown college. He succeeded.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if I put all that energy into juggling swords or something, yeah.
Yeah. And again, Jobo is a star in that universe.
Jobo, he's at the top clown. He's a household clown.
This has been A Line Around Your Thoughts. My name is EJ Iannelli, and this was a special episode featuring selections from the lightning round that closes every interview. I want to thank the Northwest Museum of Arts and Culture for being a repeated episode sponsor this year. I also want to give a shout out to the founding sponsor that helped get things off the ground, Roquehart Media SPC, proudly rooted in Spokane and supporting our community with media that makes a difference. For more, visit roquehart.media. If you are interested in becoming a sponsor in 2026 and helping to keep these conversations going, please reach out through our website at alaytpodcast.com. And for about 60 cents per episode, you can sponsor A Line Around Your Thoughts through Patreon. Check out our page at patreon.com/ALAYT. You can also get updates and engage with us on Mastodon at ALAYT Podcast at pnw.zone, on Blue Sky at alayt.bsky.social, and Instagram at ALAYT_podcast. Until next week, when we'll have the second part of our lightning round best of.